You ever have one of those days, you put in a full 8 hours, you feel totally drained, but when you look back, you realize you produced almost nothing of real value? Yeah, we've all been there. Well, what if I told you there's a reason for that? Like an actual physical law of work that we've all been completely ignoring. Let's get into it, because we are about to deconstruct a totally new way of thinking about productivity. And it has nothing to do with how many hours you clock, and everything to do with the focus you protect.
This quote right here from the scientist Csikszentmihalyi is basically the key that unlocks this entire idea. It's the guiding light for this whole new era of work, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack right now.
So let's just ask it straight up. Why can a brilliant engineer or a talented strategist work all day and produce literally nothing? I mean, it's not about being lazy, right? It's about fighting against invisible forces that our whole model of work just doesn't even acknowledge.
Okay, so to find the answer, we first have to really understand the problem. And the problem is, our entire society is built on a foundation that is just fundamentally broken for the kind of work we do today. It's called the hourly fallacy. It's this super simple idea that more hours equals more output. And yeah, that worked great for an assembly line, but it totally, completely falls apart when you're talking about writing code or doing scientific research or solving any kind of complex problem. That old model is why we all feel so burned out and unproductive. We need a new framework. And here it is, the K equation. You can think of it like a law of physics, but for your brain. It reveals all the hidden variables that are really in charge of what you produce and how valuable that work is. All right, I know what you're thinking. That looks a little intense, but stick with me here. I promise we're going to break down every single piece of this equation, and by the end, you will see your entire workday in a completely new way. So let's start with S. This is the whole point of the equation. S is the substantial outcome. This isn't about how many emails you sent or how busy you looked. Nope, this is the actual, finalized, usable value you created. Think of it like this. If a blueprint for a bridge has a tiny 1% error, its substantial outcome is 0, because you can't use it. It's all about quality gated results.
Next up is G, the goal vector. And this is so important. Work isn't just effort. It's a vector. It has a direction. G is the maximum possible value if you do everything perfectly and you're pointed in the right direction. If you work your tail off going the wrong way, your S is still 0.
Now we get to time. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. It's not just your total time, T2, minus your distracted time, T1. You see that little triangle symbol in there? That's delta. That's the penalty for the interruption. The real cost of a distraction is way bigger than just how long it lasted.
Then we have C for concentration. You can just think of this as the fuel for your brain, right? It's a simple scale from 0 to 1, representing how locked in you really are. Seems simple enough, but its role in this equation is absolutely massive.
And this is the real game changer. K for complexity. Now look closely. K isn't just a multiplier, it's an exponent. This is a power law. K is like the cognitive gravity of a task, and it radically amplifies how important your concentration is.
And finally, let's zoom back in on that delta symbol, the penalty coefficient. This is the hidden tax you pay on every single interruption. It's the math behind that feeling of, wait, where was I? And let me tell you, that tax is staggering.
So this is the thing. A 5-minute interruption doesn't cost you 5 minutes. Not even close. The neurobiology behind this shows it costs you way more. Let's look at why. When you're in deep work, really in the zone on something complex, your brain builds this thing called a mental scaffold. It's this beautiful, fragile, intricate web of ideas and variables that you're holding in your head. An interruption doesn't just pause your work. It's like a wrecking ball that shatters that scaffold. It just collapses.
So getting back on track isn't instant. You have to climb what's called the resumption ramp. First, you have to get your bearings. You're literally asking yourself, okay, where was I? Then you have to slowly reload all those variables back into your head. And only then can you even try to get back to that deep state of thinking. That whole wasted process, that's the delta tax you pay for every single little distraction.
Okay, so let's get back to that K exponent, because this is probably the most powerful and honestly mind-bending part of this whole equation. This is where the math gets really punishing.
All right, look at this chart. This visual says everything. For a simple task, where K equals 1, if you have 80% focus, you get about 80% of the result. Makes sense, right? It's linear. But now, look at the complex task, where K equals 3.
that same 20% drop in focus doesn't cause a 20% drop in output. It causes a nearly 50% collapse in your final result. That is the absolute tyranny of the exponent.
So what do these K values actually look like in the real world? This table gives us some perfect examples. A K equals 1 task, that's like routine data entry or filling out a standard form. K equals 2 gets a little more complex, maybe debugging some code or doing a routine checkup. But K3, man, that's the deep stuff. We're talking about designing a whole new software architecture, crafting a legal strategy for a trial, or making a complex medical diagnosis. These are the jobs where focus isn't just nice to have, it is everything.
You see, once you understand this equation, it doesn't just change your workday, it changes our entire economy. We're talking about a massive, fundamental shift in what we value and how we measure it.
We are moving away from an economy based on time, and in its place, a new economy is rising, one built on what's being called the focus standard. In this new world, the most valuable commodity, the real gold standard, is a person's uninterrupted, high-quality attention.
And this isn't some sci-fi dream. Check out this roadmap. It lays out a real year-by-year transition. It starts in 2026, just calibrating how we measure this stuff. By 2028, compensation starts to shift. And by 2030, the focus standard is predicted to be fully institutionalized.
And this leads to a completely new set of rules. I mean, can you imagine getting paid not for your time, but for the intensity of the focus you deliver? Or a national focus index being reported on the news right alongside GDP? Workplaces are going to be redesigned with things like asynchronous communication and focus vaults, spaces, both real and digital, designed to completely eliminate that costly delta tax. Now, it is absolutely crucial to give credit where it's due. This entire paradigm-shifting framework, the K equation, the focus standard, all of it was pioneered by the scientist Csikszentmihalyi. The work we're exploring today is all about continuing and expanding on that incredible foundation that was laid.
So this all leaves us with one last huge question to think about. As we move into this synthesis era, is your value going to be decided by the hours you show up, or by the depth and quality of the attention you can command? The physics of productivity seems to be telling us the answer is already here.